Hey guys, this is Zaza for LegoPoker.com. Today I come to you with something totally different, and I haven't done anything like it so far, so hopefully it will, go well. It's gonna be it's gonna be something like a presentation, but I'm not gonna be using any big keywords, any big PowerPoint presentation. It's almost like I'm gonna be having some kind of monologue, and hopefully all of you guys will get something out of it. I've been inspired to do this just because I've been having a few coaching lessons lately. I've been doing some group coaching, and while doing that, I've experienced like a couple of things and like aha moments in terms of coaching people and understanding where people need to learn, where people just have misconceptions, and I think the most important thing, like what is the key factor that is missing for most people to move up from playing 50 NL to 100 and then to 200. Basically, why do people get stuck? So let's talk about, first of all, why do I think people get stuck in, let's say, microstakes? Um, I mean, with all the information out there, all the training videos, all the strategy posts. You have free tools like PokerStove, and then you have, I mean, you can buy Flipzilla, Cartron, Ivey. So there's more and more stuff coming out, more and more tools to your predisposition that you can use in order to get better. So first problem is people are not as work happy, or more so, people are more lazy than they think they are. So just by grinding per se, you will obviously get better by putting in a lot of hours and a lot of hands by getting more experience. But at the same time, if you don't do anything else to excel at at poker, you will not get better. You will get better to a certain degree, but you will stagnate. Your progress will stagnate basically. So that's problem number one. People are too lazy to study, and by study I mean, by too lazy, I'm probably in that category to some degree. But you don't have to. When I say study, there's different ways of studying. Some people need to have a very organized way of studying. So basically, that would mean they set a set hour, and basically they start at 10 a.m. till noon. So 2 hours or 1 hour, or whatever that may be. And during that time, they will focus on, and let's just say, for example, pre-flop ranges, 3-betting ranges, 4-betting ranges, just get it in ranges. Make some math, make some math on that, and try to see what a profitable 5-bet shoving range is, what a profitable 4-bet bluffing range is. So, etc. etc. That's just example. I don't want to go too much into examples today like this. I want to focus I just want to, give you guidelines, basically. So, like I was saying, so there's a few different ways of, studying successfully. That's the first way. Like I said, just being organized and planning out what type of stuff you want to practice today, or that specific day. Second way is by having a lot of poker friends, and having friends who probably play higher than you, are just as eager to learn as you, and probably what you can do is invite some of them and discuss a certain concept you learn in the video. So maybe you watch my video, or Adam001, so Mossbergs, or whatever, A. Jones, whatever video you watch lately, you make some notes and you analyze some of the things that were being said in there, and maybe you try to make a concept out of it. And so the first thing you want to do is understand the concept, and then the second thing, after understanding the concept, basically understanding the theory, you want to try to use it in practice. And to use it in practice, that means that you need to find examples. So this is the biggest thing I've been noticing with my students, where they lack of, real in-depth understanding. So far I've been teaching all, in most of my coaching sessions, I don't really try to say, okay, you can play a hand this way or that way and no other way. I always try to tell them, okay, this is a hand in a vacuum, and it's most likely going to be okay, but it under like a few different variables, and their play could be really bad, to really good. So it always depends based on your opponent. But there's different strategies that you can use where you can prevent such things. So if you have a good set strategy for different situations, then that's almost never going to be bad versus the vast majority of your opponents. So even though I'm trying to teach them this, and even though most of them understand it, because as we all know, poker is all the concepts. When you look, I look at the videos and it's well explained, point by point. All of it makes sense. That's why there's so many people who overestimate their own skill. Like when you ask any poker player, they probably think they're better than they actually are. And this is true for almost anyone, I think. I mean, I'm probably in that same camp. So I don't know if it's an ego thing or if it's just how human beings, we as human beings work. But I definitely think that's a trait most of us share, for sure. So before I forget where I was at. So understanding the concepts is never the problem. But I think the problem is there's one way, it's one thing to understand the concept. Like I said, I'm not going to go into explaining what concepts I'm talking about. I'm just going to say, I'm understanding a concept. Let's just say an example is a concept of check calling as the PFR. What board textures to do it on? Why, for what reasons? Why is it good? Why is it bad? Why should you even check? Why can't you see bet? It's not just about understanding the reasons I'm giving you. It's more like you have to understand it, but you have to, first of all, you have to grasp it. But on the other hand, you have to also understand that there's so many different variables in poker and at the tables that can change, like table dynamics, player stats, history, and position, stack sizes. That there's not, within one concept, there's always going to be small changes and nuances that you have to change. So whereas you can study and maybe watch all A. Jones videos or some other guy you really like, watching videos of him, you watch all their videos, make some notes, and try to emulate their play. It's never going to work out that way, because all of these people, I think, what is their strength? Their strength is they have been working on all these concepts and not memorizing them, but understanding them to a point where they can still change from within that concept. They can change and transition to another one, basically. So it's not something which is going to be so rigid as some people might understand it. So when somebody says you should, there's never going to be any absolutes in poker, and I think that's what most people not understanding nowadays. It's really seldom that you will find a play which is going to be 100% the only play you can make, obviously. I mean, that's a saying that all of us know, but I feel like people still tend to forget it, because you always hear this is bad, this is terrible, until it gets proven otherwise. In a year, maybe that what we thought was terrible now will be considered as good in 1 year or 2 years. I mean, that's what's been going on right now. I remember when 2 years ago, everybody was potting, opening, and potting, 3xing from everywhere, and you see the opens are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So, that's why, I mean, this is I guess the biggest problem in poker, just being stubborn and not considering enough, just not having an open mind, I guess. And besides the open mind, I want to come back to the concepts that we're talking about. And I really hope when I say concept, you do understand what I mean, because this is the key of the video, I guess. When I talk about concepts, you really do, I mean, concepts in poker, and there's different concepts. And I'm pretty sure you've heard of most of them. And these concepts are dependent on board textures and not so on your hand. I mean, your hand is obviously part of the concept, but your hand is one part of your range. And so you play your range based on the board texture, and you don't play, the board texture. Well, sorry about that. When I say you play your range according to the board texture, you can say it the other way too. You play your range, you play the board texture according to your range of hands. I mean, you can see that both ways, but I hope you understand what I mean when I say that. So if you have a lot of hands that have trouble in some spots, so, what you also need to always consider is when you're thinking about c-betting or checking, don't just think about the flop. You always have to consider their range, how their range plays versus your range, but also on the flop, but also how it's going to play out on various churn and river scenarios.